Hello, everyone. Welcome to my podcast for everyone who wants to build a successful career or business through unlocking their own unique value and potential. Just a quick note for everyone who is listening. Please follow me on Substack. This is the main platform where I share my content, including these podcasts, so you can get updates about my fresh content. And do please comment on my podcast and give me some feedback. I'd really love to hear back from all of you. My guest of today's episode is a wonderful lady who is a full spectrum image consultant, DeJhauna Smith, who builds personal brands for founders, professionals, so that they can attract the opportunities that they desire. And she believes that in order for your outer image to shine, your inner image must align. And she is a founder, a guide, content creator for high achieving individuals who are ready to take their life to the next level. And I am super excited to welcome you to my podcast and really looking forward to know more about what you do and how you do it. So hello.
Hi, thank you for having me, Luba. I'm so happy to be here. As you mentioned, I am a full spectrum image consultant and I help professionals elevate, leverage their public presence, basically their personal brand. And I really do that through helping them create strategic style and cultivate a magnetic personal brand that's authentic for them.
Tell us a little bit more about why is this important in your opinion, the appearance and how you feel inside. Why is this alignment important? How do you get these things aligned?
Yeah, so important. I believe that having a personal brand is important because it allows you to show up and not always have to verbally communicate who you are, what you do, and the such. So, one, I know a lot of people may be familiar with having a personal brand in the online spaces, so on their social media, and their business and things like that, and where they showcase what they do in their business, what their expertise is, and that's part of having a personal brand. However, what I do and what I believe is that you also have to be able to translate that online brand that you've built to a public presence. And we do that with style and with the way that we look on just the outside, what we're wearing, the colors that we wear, the actual mannerisms that we're showing up as, and how we conduct ourselves in public places and things like that. And by doing that, you gain respect, one, but
Mhm.
then also it allows people to be magnetized to you. So your ideal clients or the communities that you wish to attract, they will then come to you because they'll be intrigued by who you are, and how you're showing up.
Yeah, so it's definitely super important for leaders that want people to follow them, but it's also important even for those who are not per se strong leaders, but who are building careers, because anyway, people do look at you and they read, they scan your, so let's say outside, the way you dress, the way you behave, the way you talk, the way you walk into the room, and all of that together already gives an impression, even when you go to a job interview, right?
Mm.
So how can you actually leverage your personal brand for leadership?
Yeah, so someone thinking about leveraging their personal brand for leadership, they could look at it from the view of, excuse me, what do I, ultimately want to achieve? Is their leadership going to be taking on a new role at a new company, taking on a higher role at their current company, maybe going out on their own and building a company or a business on their own? And so you can leverage your personal brand to do that by allowing yourself to show up and take the stance as a leader. I do that with my clients by really helping them build a professional image. And so let's say you have someone who's just been working from home and now they're ready to maybe step into a managerial role or even
Mhm.
an executive type role. but they've already spoken to their higher ups about, hey, like these are my skills, this is what I've been doing. And maybe none of that's getting them movement, none of that's getting them advancement. So the next step would be to take on revamp, your actual outer appearance. How are you showing up in a more confident manner? A lot of times that's through the way you dress. If you aren't wearing clothes or colors that make you feel confident, you're not actually going, that's not going to translate to someone else that
Mm.
you are confident. So I do that by saying, hey, like, we're going to go in and do a strategic styling session where we're going to figure out what looks good on you, what makes you actually feel confident. So then when you sit down in your meetings, in your jobs, in your interviews, you actually translate that I am confident, I am capable, without
Mhm.
having to verbally say that, without having to verbally say, hey, like this is the list of achievements and things that I've done. But I guess in simpler terms, it's more so that people look at you and they take you seriously, and that is then going to say, oh, okay, like this person is capable of doing whatever this next higher level role may be.
Mhm. So you're helping people to understand what makes them feel good, confident, so they can put it on, basically walk into that space and nail that job interview or make the deal,
Yeah.
basically achieve their goal.
Yes, that's exactly what I do. And I believe that a lot of times people we don't recognize that we aren't as confident as we could be. It's very micro differences and the color that you might wear that's going to absolutely make you radiate. It's a very micro difference. And maybe I'm wearing black over this nice pink color where this pink is really in harmony with my other skin tone. So now I feel a little more confident. Whereas something that isn't in harmony with my natural color palette, I call it, is going to just make me not feel as like, hey, like I'm showed up, I'm in a very confident and expressive, exuding manner where now I'm able to even speak more confidently about what I do, and
Mhm.
feel more grounded within myself, within my capabilities, which then translates to the other person. Um, a lot of people don't recognize that basically before you even, speak on who you are, what you do, what your achievements are, people see you and that registers how whatever you're wearing, however you have your hair, whatever clothes you're wearing, your posture, all of that registers in someone else's brain within a tenth of a second. And so
Mhm.
before someone can actually open up and say, hey, like this is what I do, this is who I am, these are my capabilities, we have already decided who that person is, what they're capable of, where we can fit them, and whether it's the next role or wherever it is, just within our own minds in a tenth of a second. And so learning what looks good on you, how to wear it,
Mhm.
what to wear, and what makes you feel your best is most likely the best way, in my opinion, to go into leadership, to leverage, your next leadership position and really step into that role that you want to be in.
Yeah, no, I definitely recognize this, and as a woman, I pay attention to these kind of things. What about your clients and your audience? Are these mostly women, or do you also have men interested in this kind of services as well?
I do have men interested, but right now I only work with women. I do have plans, in the future to work with men, but I'm very passionate about working with women, and I know, my own life purpose. So right now I just work with women, but it works for both men and women. One of the main services that I provide is color analysis. And so
Mhm.
we all, men or women, need to know what colors look really well on us. And not that they look really well, but what colors flatter us, what colors make us shine. And I always tell people, I want to see you as the person first over the color. And so even the color that I'm wearing today is one of my best colors. And it helps
Mhm.
me to just look more radiant. And I love the color. It looks great on me. So now I also feel more confident.
It does, yeah, it does look great on you.
Thank
That's
you.
for sure. So you definitely demonstrate exactly how it should be. So really
Thank
great,
you.
great to see that in practice. And I'm curious, like, what is that? Mm, well, first of all, maybe what is the difference between personal style and personal brand? Because some women, some people could say but I already have my own personal style. I have my preference and what I wear. Like I have my, things that I like. What
Yeah.
is the difference and how do you see this personal style and personal brand?
So personal style is a component of a personal brand.
Mhm.
So when we look at a personal brand, there are multiple elements of a personal brand. We're going to look at the identity, like what is the who is it that you actually want to show up as? How do you want to present yourself? What are the values that you have there? What are the habits, the mindsets, and the beliefs that you have there? So a personal brand has multiple components, and it's going to be all encompassing of uh, your style, which is one component. So the actual
Mhm.
clothes, your wardrobe, and all of that, but then also your habits that you are doing to maintain that brand, the values and the beliefs and the mission that you have behind that brand, the identity. So who is it? What is it that you want to show up as? Who do you want to tell the world that you are? What communities do you want to attract to you? Personal style is just the clothes that you're wearing. Well, not just, let me not say that. It's not just the clothes that you're wearing, but it's the clothes that you're wearing, it's the colors that you wear.
Mhm.
It's going to be the hair, the accessories, all of that. So it's a component of a personal brand.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a very good, clear definition that makes sense and easy to remember.
Yeah.
So basically, when you are building your personal brand, you need to pay attention to different components of it, and personal style is one of them.
Yes. Oh yeah. I often see I think it's become really popular anyways, where we focus on our personal brand as what is the knowledge and the expertise that we can provide and the value on that level, which is excellent. That is of course a part of even what I do when I speak to someone about their personal brand and help them build that. We're going to go over what is your expertise, where do you want to place your focus.
Mhm.
However, your personal brand is also has to have that image layer, that what do I see, what is attracting me, because again what we see registers within a tenth of a second. And so
Mhm.
if we only are focusing on, well, here's my expertise, this is what I focus on, this is what I specialize in,
Mhm.
then have to work a little harder to constantly communicate that. Even in a networking event, you're going to have to say, hey, this is who I am. Like, hi, I'm so and so. I do blah blah blah. Whereas I know a lot of times when I show up to networking events, it's often people coming to me and asking me what I do, and that starts the conversation. And it's not because of anything I've said, but it's how I've showed up. It's what I look like that has now attracted them, that has now intrigued them.
Excellent point. I love it because indeed you want people to approach you. And
Yeah.
so you need to position yourself and leverage your personal style in the way that they actually get attracted to you first and they approach you. And then you really have the leverage to either start a conversation or to go into negotiations or to, leave the dialogue and things like this. So
Yeah.
it gives you already an advantage when somebody is approaching you. You're not the one making the first step. I think
Yes,
that's a really
exactly.
good point. And how do you work with someone to help them discover their personal style while not only just discovering their style, but also linking it to the authenticity of their brand, of personal brand? Because you said you talk to
Yeah.
them about their brand, but also you work. So how does it work? What exactly do you do?
Yeah, so when someone comes to me, whether they want to work on their, personal brand as a whole, or maybe they feel like they have a good platform or a good foundation with their brand and their values and, their expertise, but maybe they haven't really touched on the actual image factor of their personal brand, then we will do one of two things. We can do the full brand recomposition, basically, or we can just work on their wardrobe. And so when someone comes to me, the first thing we're going to do is sit down and we're going to have a bit of a conversation on who they ultimately want to be. A lot of people know who they want to be, but they don't know all the in between steps of how to get
Mhm.
there, what that really looks like. They kind of have words for it, but they don't have the actual picture of it. And so that's
Mhm.
what I help them do. I help them put that picture together. Um, and so let's say someone comes to me, I really listen and ask, based on certain questions, I'm just asking them, who is it that you want to be? What what that look like on a daily basis? What does that person do? Where do they go? All of that. And that's how we come up with their image. And that is where I believe it also helps someone to remain within their authenticity as well. Because a lot of times, we don't want to be someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we can often get caught up in trying to find um, um, role models of who we ultimately want to be, or
Mm-hmm.
like examples on social media, maybe like fashion influencers or things like that, of what the style is that we want to have. But ultimately, even in those cases, that's not a creation of our own style. That's not a creation of who we ultimately want to be. And I always encourage people to don't fully copy someone else's, style
Mm-hmm.
aesthetic. Even if it's very close to what you want, you still have to go out there and sit down and say, okay, like, what works well for my body type or my colors, or just what works well for me, what makes me feel good. And so that's where I help my clients, where we say, okay, like, who maybe is some of your style aesthetics? Who are some of your role models or people that you say, "Hey, yeah, I kind of like that style. I kind of like that image, that
Mm-hmm.
brand that they have going on there." And we pick that apart and piece it together of what now works exactly for you, what makes you feel really good, what makes you look really good,
Mm-hmm.
what works for you on a day-to-day basis, as far as the habits that you need to maintain this look, the beliefs and the mindset that you need to maintain this look, and not just maintain, but also evolve, because no one's going to stay the same.
All right. And what does it mean then? You get the sort of the guidelines to a person. This is what it should look like for you, and this is what you could wear after discussing it and visualizing all those things. But then what? This person needs to go and do his own shopping, or does he need your support in this? Also, where to find these things, or how does that work? The practical side of it.
Yeah, so the practical side of that is when we talk about the actual clothing and the wardrobe. So first, I start with what people have in their wardrobe. I don't
Mm.
believe that we have to go out and buy a completely new closet. Sometimes that might be the case, but a lot of times we already have those foundational pieces that probably work for us. So
Mm-hmm.
I start with, okay, I call it a wardrobe edit. So we go through and say, okay, like, what items do you currently have in your wardrobe that embody this ideal persona that you want to have, the end result, basically. But then also, what items do you have in your wardrobe that are not at all who you want to be, that do not at all match that persona? Take those items out, throw them out, give them away, because you don't need them. There's no point in wearing something that doesn't embody who you ultimately want to be, what your
Mm-hmm.
ultimate brand is. But then the items that you do have, okay, now how can we put some outfits together with what you currently have? And then after that, I usually put a shopping list together of some items that they may want to go ahead and add to their closet. I do some personal shopping with my in-person clients, but
Mm-hmm.
if someone isn't in person with me, then I put a shopping list together. But then also I'll have some links as to where they can purchase those items. I also put
Mm-hmm.
some outfit inspirations together as well, and so then they have a framework to work off of, moving forward.
Awesome. That's really sounds great. I mean, I am getting all excited about this. I mean, I'm sure your services are very popular with especially with ladies. And we women, we by nature, we are feminine. We are um, we like to have that femininity in our appearance. What what can you say about this? I mean, I'm curious because we live in such a um, changing and complex world
Yeah.
where women work in companies, and there is also a company culture and a dress code. And sometimes it's quite difficult or even inappropriate to be feminine in your appearance, or it could be conflicting, let's put it this way,
Yeah.
with the, let's say, corporate culture, uh, but not everywhere. So, what do you think about highlighting your femininity in your personal brand today in the corporate environment? is that appropriate? Do you think we should do this, or do you think we are at the stage where we maybe all be more kind of neutral? And also, I would also be interested to know your perspective from the other side of the world as well, because I am based in Europe and you are in US. I'm sure there is some difference between how things are done. So yeah, if you could share some experience or some insights on that topic, that would be great.
Yeah. So I believe that we as women should highlight our femininity,
Mm-hmm.
not only in our style, but just in our overall mannerisms in the workplace. So there's one of two ways one could do this if they want to highlight their femininity. They could certainly do that through dressing, and their wardrobe and the items that they wear. And maybe they don't wear, maybe they're not in a position where they feel comfortable to wear dresses or skirts, in their
Mm-hmm.
workplace, but they could wear maybe something with a little lace or something with ruffles, whatever, makes them feel most comfortable. I would encourage that to, incorporate their femininity into their overall aesthetic in the workplace. But let's say they're not in that position where they even want to wear something that's, a little more lacy or ruffly, or maybe has a design, or maybe that's like maybe not this color pink, but a more muted tone of pink or
Mm-hmm.
red or something of the such. But another way you could do that is just in your mannerisms. And so, when I'm working with a woman, I would encourage her to, I know it's easy when we're in a workplace to want to always step up or have to take over, but a lot of times femininity is just saying like, oh, what do you think? And allowing others to speak and allowing others to come to the conclusion. And so maybe you can't fully dress in a very feminine way, but you can still have feminine habits, and feminine mannerisms that allow you to embrace that as well. As far as being in the US, I would certainly say it's an interesting it's an interesting culture here with femininity. I think it's become more popular for women to embrace their femininity in the workplace in in last recent years anyways. Where it's been more culturally appropriate to say, hey, I do want to be a little more soft. I do want to wear maybe a little some more colors or things like that, or more dresses or skirts in my workplace and in the office and such. And so I do see that transitioning and that kind of changing in, corporate culture here in the US. But I think also it's still very much a lot of times a man's world, you could say,
Mm-hmm.
where women do feel like they have to adjust themselves to the more masculine culture of the workforce. And honestly, when I encourage my clients, I always let them know that, if the feminine, if there's so much masculine, you coming in as the feminine is only going to be of service to you, because now people are like, oh, what is that? Who is that? Like, what are they doing? People are, again, that's the intrigue. And now you are taking a space that hasn't been taken. You are
Mm-hmm.
putting yourself, I guess, out there in a way. But people are now intrigued because everyone is, one, acting in a more masculine way and, doing and all of that. But you are, if you go to the feminine role of maybe just being and allowing others to take over and softly speaking and wearing softer colors, maybe wearing a little bit of more like lace or ruffles, or even maybe a skirt or a dress occasionally, now you are adding kind of spice to the mixture of your office space.
Cool. And the last question, are the high heels coming back?
I like to say I think high heels are coming back. I don't think as high, maybe. I think there's now so many different heel heights, heel widths, and all of that, where women are becoming more comfortable wearing some sort of heel. I hope that they're coming back. I've incorporated more heels into my own wardrobe just as I've gotten more comfortable in my own femininity. So hopefully.
Wow, this is really exciting to see that femininity is coming back. Yeah, I was always a big fan of this, and
Yeah.
It's really great to hear that women are embracing this more and actually using it for their advantage, indeed, to attract attention and to highlight their uniqueness, their authenticity as well. I think it's a great way of doing it.
Yes, yes. I am very excited to see how it continues to evolve here in the US. I think women have so much to offer in their feminine presence to the
Mhm.
work world that it has gotten overlooked for so many years. And now that we are becoming more comfortable showing up in our femininity, I really hope to see more of it in the workspace because it's truly a different perspective. And um that different perspective is what makes the whole of, leadership or the workspace be all encompassing, and we're not just only acting out of a masculine role or allowing, the masculine to completely rule in the workspace.
No, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I hope ladies who will listen to this podcast will be inspired by this. I definitely was. So thank you so much for sharing your perspective and your knowledge. And I'm sure it's going to be useful for everyone. I really love to um, share this episode on my social media. So more
Yes.
people can see this. I think this is really great what you are doing. And yeah, thanks for agreeing to talk to me.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate this. And I look forward to connecting with you more and connecting with your community as well.
Great. I will share with everyone your contact details, the links of social media channels where people can find you and reach out to you. So hopefully this will give you some exposure as well. But like I said, thanks again for your time.
You're
And
welcome.
well, have a great time, everyone. And until next time.
It's nice talking to